Hello, my name's Peter Bradley, and I'm here today to talk about stammering in work and how employers can make reasonable adjustments for people that stammer in work. So, what are reasonable adjustments? So, stammering or stuttering, it's the same thing, can be seen as a disability, and employers have a duty of care to meet the needs of their employees. So a person that stammers has the right to ask for reasonable adjustments in which their working life can be made easier. So adjustments are ways that prevent someone with a disability being at a disadvantage. Adjustments are individual, and different adjustments are right for the different people. The employer and person that stammers should discuss what would be helpful. A person that stammers may choose not to be treated any differently than other employees, as their stammer may not impact on the way they go about doing things. That's important to remember. So judging a person who stammers by their speech at a job interview, for example, can create an artificial and unnecessary barrier to employment. That person may have the right piece of the puzzle, but they haven't been given this suitable platform to meet their needs to display that. It's a good idea in the case of a job interview to arrange adjustments prior to the interview taking place. Adjustments for job interviews might include additional time, the option to take in notes to assist the person, allow for written responses to interview questions, have alternatives to presentations, and instead of telephone interviews, offer face-to-face interviews, as the telephone can be a big challenge to someone that has a stammer. It's also important for employers to understand about stammering and what it is. So they should take interest into the known causes of stammering or stuttering, and to realise that there are myths and a stigma attached to that. So research has revealed that stammering has a neurological basis, and it doesn't mean that a person's nervous or shy. It's okay to stammer. It's interesting, adds character and increased empathy, as well as other powerful qualities in a person. Stammering should no longer be corrected, but it should be welcomed into the conversational environment. It's okay to be who you are and to talk the way that you do, and everyone has the right to be heard. Understand that good communication skills take into account much more than just speaking fluently. And for employers to understand that having a stammer can be difficult, and a good description of how hard it can be. I read that it's a bit like wanting to laugh but not being able to break a smile. So in work, there's job adjustments, reasonable adjustments that can be made. So one obvious one is speech therapy. So if an employee goes down the route of speech therapy whilst employed, disability leave to attend speech therapy would be a reasonable adjustment. With long waiting lists in the NHS for specialist stammering therapy, the option to ask for private therapy costs to be covered by an employer should be acceptable. In my own instance, I'm a firefighter in Northern Ireland, and the fire service supported me greatly by funding my attendance in this Starfish project in England, which is an adult speech therapy program. It's fantastic, and it's made a world of difference to me. In particular, with using the phone in work, with delivering school talks about fire safety, and also providing me with great mentors and friends to share experiences with and to talk about it. So there should be options available in work, so they should be discussed and explored between an employer and employee. So maybe an option to work from home when speech is difficult, an option to have non-speaking days where interaction is done via email or online tools such as messaging boards. I recently delivered a talk to Pearson's UK Financial Centre in Belfast, and they've made some great reasonable adjustments. They have an online forum for talking whilst meetings and conferences are taking place. Flexibility around scripted phone conversations should be provided. So for someone that has a stammer, particular words might be more difficult to say. So the ability to swap words in for other words that they might find easier with the same meaning should be an acceptable adjustment. It's also important to remember that a person that stammers is an individual, and an employer should discuss any adjustments with that person before implementing any reasonable adjustments. A person that stammers might enjoy speaking up at meetings, whilst another might find it a struggle to get their point across. So during meetings, the chair might introduce everyone at the start. So saying your name can be very difficult for someone with a stammer, especially in a large group. Option to contribute via chat options in conference calls could be offered as a reasonable adjustment. The permission to be quiet during a meeting and contribute via email afterwards should be acceptable. And also avoidance of back-to-back meetings, as this can cause overtiredness. So obviously this would be discussed with a person that stammers, and even coming up with a correct or suitable method of taking turns during meetings, like putting your hand up, for example, instead of having to speak over someone else. So the information that I've delivered has been gathered from the stammer.org website, which is a fantastic resource for persons that stammer, employers, and the general public. And they have made 19 examples of reasonable adjustments, which is available online, as well as a reasonable adjustment form template if your employer doesn't have one in place. There's also interesting information about legal advice on adjustments available on that website. So thank you very much for listening. I hope this has helped you as an employer and as an employee, and I hope we can move forward welcoming stammering into the conversation and to maybe break down the barriers in the workplace. Thank you.